Welcome back to Esports Wales. It's the Welsh Esports League Season 9. I'm Charlotte, joined by Muhcreedy, and it's playoffs time, baby, in the Rainbow Six Siege competition semi-final, and we've got an exciting one. The top 2 seeds coming to blows here today. It's going to be the Pit Ponies taking on the Goats, Adam.
Yeah, very exciting because, like you say, things are starting to heat up. Week 3, but we are already at that playoff stage, that semi-finals, to see which team can lock in their position for the next week. So, like you say, the top seed, we have the Pit Ponies going up against the Goats. Then we have the SCA Dragons. They're going to be going up against I believe, the Wolfhounds. And then it's Wizards and Tribal playing for that all-important bottom place spot to hopefully get that club of the season point, because that's the important bit as well, isn't it? You know, there's a lot of different moving parts on here, so that game's not useless. That's not how teams should be looking at that. But we are going to be doing, like you say, taking a look at the top 2 teams over there. We've got Goats from Group A with a commanding 6-point lead, and SCA Dragons with the 3 points. You can see that Group B, that's been a lot closer. It's been very much a round difference. That's where we're seeing why these teams have come out where they have. SCA Dragons clearly had a much better time than, say, Pit Ponies and the Wizards, and that's why you can see them. They have gone into that top seed, and that's why we're covering them today, Charlotte.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the first time that I've seen, it's the first time in a while I've seen a group here in Esports Wales be decided by the round difference. It's certainly been a while, but yeah, you can see the bracket down below us as well. Goats and Pit Ponies, who coming into the tournament were seeded as 1 and 2. And then on the other side, SCA Dragons and Wolfhounds. So let's narrow down on our match specifically. We've already mentioned, you know, they're coming in. They look like top seeds. You know, these are 2 teams that we're looking at as being, you know, near the top, potentially to go on and win it. Which is certainly exciting, and it's a rematch as well from last season's grand final. Here in the semi-finals, only one of these teams is going to be able to make it back to that final spot.
Yeah, very exciting. Both teams definitely going to be looking at this saying, right, we need to win this. We need to knock these other teams out. They know how it went last time, so they need to make sure that they can move on forward this time. We are going to be starting things off with our maps. Nighthaven, Charlotte, one I'm actually looking forward to see quite a bit, followed by Consulate, and if we do go followed by Skyscraper, and if we do go all the way, we will find ourselves on Consulate. The Operator Band's going to start things off, an Ace and a Mirror. Nothing really surprising, especially on a map like Nighthaven. Think about your IT, think about your con. Ace and Mirror, very simple bands to take off, very impactful.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see just pretty much hard breacher bans the entire way here. Yeah. And indeed, Thermite also being removed here for the first half of play. And Azami also being taken out again isn't necessarily a surprise. I mean, you know, she's one of those architect operators that Ubisoft like to talk about, where she can remodel bomb sites as she wants with those keeper barriers. It's exactly in the same way that, well, not exactly in the same way, but in the same category as Mira there as well, who is, you know, could get you those lines of sight. Also incredibly impactful, incredibly helpful, and Dasami would have been nice to have over on the rafters here. Instead, Pit Ponies are going to have to find a different way of doing things as they defend the top floor.
Yeah, exactly. Now, one thing I do quite like looking at the moment is over towards this IT wall. You can see that the tuber out there has been putting pressure. They've been using that DMR to kind of make that soft breach a little bit harder. That's because when you look at the attackers left on the board, Goats have the options of 2 hard breaches. They can either go for the Maverick or they can go for the Habana, try and get the hard breach trick sorted and get that breach open. Yes, there are hard breach gadgets in the form of Siegeology, but those are the 2 operators that you're really going to want to look for. And by doing that, it's made it a lot harder to place down those X-Kairos charges, which aren't going to be brought out, but also make it a lot more awkward for that Maverick. I mean, they have to stay on that rappel a little bit longer, which means exactly what Siegeology is looking at. There's more risk of a jump out. There's more risk of the defenders getting control. Breach is going to go out, will get bandit charged just in time as Old Man Leg can walk back, and right now Pit Ponies have got a really good idea of how this attack is going to go. Opening up the line of sight, a player on the stairs could see a bandit, but bases ready just to shoot them out. But look at that. They don't have time to get in there. That bandit's not going to be able to get down there and plant another charge. They're going to have to wait for that hard breach gadget to go down. The shots do come out. Doesn't find it.
The C4.
And Murder's going to be the first to fall to the C4 over towards that IT side. And that's the Maverick taken away. So that's even harder for that breach to get open now.
Yeah, the C4 did, break their own bandit charges as well, but this is where the Zoto canisters come in. There's another kill from the defense. Reese on the Fenrir here, MP7 in hand, gets the first onto Geology, at least for the side of the Goats. They don't let things fall much further than that. It's a trade to come on out from Jeagle. And now Dino could be under a bit of pressure. Drone spotting out his position, and Rafters no longer in the hands of the defense. Pit Ponies, they've got to retreat away from this, and Goats are steadily pushing up and gaining more control of the map.
Yeah, but the thing is, this map control, it hasn't been free for the side of Goats. They have lost 2 players on the board, and suddenly, especially Young Yogi, they have to be a lot more focused on how they play down below, how they try and cut off these players, because they don't have enough bodies to really throw at this. A minute left on the clock, a second C4 will go out. It doesn't find its mark like the first one, and that case is still down. Yogi does have an answer, will find Ninja, hopefully on that flank watch. That's the smoke taken away, so the end round is going to be a lot more stronger for the attacking side, and just a little bit harder for the defenders to win things out. But 50 seconds left. The only real approach they have at the moment is through this IT door. The defenders, you have a mute with the smoke, with the shotgun and SMG. You've got the bandit and the tuber. They can slow things down. They can really shut this round out. But Meep on the flank is going to be able to find Yogi. And now it's just down to the Blackbeard and the Ash to get this round up back on track. 30 seconds left. They need to go in, and the defenders are looking very comfortable.
Yeah, it's a problem for the Goats, right? They just don't really have much control. They don't really have many angles to approach from either. Jeagle's been spotted by the default camera downstairs. They'll be aware of the Aqua presence and pressure. You can see 2 players looking towards this, and the Spongy falls. That's the cue for Old Man Leg to swing. And the first round for the defense, exactly as you might expect, but it's looking nice here for the Pit Ponies.
Yeah, good round out there. Like I said, I was quite happy that when they did start to pull things back, it wasn't that they were just pulling back willy-nilly. They wasted time. They'd taken down a couple of players. So then when they were pulling back, the attackers had to work for it. Everything in this game is all about the trade-off. If you are taking map control, the defenders need to make sure that they are punishing you for it. You are spending time, you are spending utility, and spending players. Very strong stuff from Pit Ponies. They got those opening picks, they pulled back, and they were able to continue doing it. It really narrowed down what the Goats could do there. As soon as it was down to that 4 versus 3 situation, Young Yogi trying to go down below with that buck, somebody had to go for another angle. They couldn't just walk through that IT door. They couldn't just try and push onto site, because exactly what you saw happened. That final execute was a little bit too out of sync. Spongy got picked off on their own, and then so was Jekyll as well. So very strong round from Pit Ponies. Goats, they're going to have to go and take that basement now. You can see that the Ram is going to be brought out, and that makes a lot of sense, because there's so much verticality, especially towards that breach. The Ram is such an important operator to bring, and if all else fails, unlike in that first round, you lose the Maverick, you've got a contingency, you've got the Buck, you can use Spongy for exactly that. Pit Ponies, I'm interested to see what kind of roam game they're going to bring out, because on a map like this, on a site like this, you do expect to see somebody there just trying to apply pressure around that storage area, Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean, it technically is possible to bunker, but yeah, it doesn't seem like the Pit Ponies way, especially with, Meep on the team as well. You can't box. You can't get that guy in a box. Just is gonna want to be out on the map, flanking, doing their own thing. Yeah. So, but a castle still might not be the worst idea. There's so many options right now, especially as we're still in the first quarter. Only 2 bans for the defense. We're not quite extending it to 3 just yet. So there's still plenty of options, plenty of choices. The real question for me is, how are the attack going to deal with losing the Maverick, because we saw in the first round they tried to get the Buck involved. They tried to do some hard breaching charges, but with a tuber out in the way and the clock ticking down, there just wasn't really an opportunity to utilize that breach, and then you're funneling yourself through single doorways. It was all very much focused on that side of the map, and I need to see something a bit more. I need to see, a second angle of approach here from the Goats, because that first round did leave me wanting, Adam.
Yeah, I have to agree. I felt very similar. It did feel like there wasn't that second angle. It's so important to have, because, like we say, we did see them try to do it towards the end there, but the timing wasn't there. They were in a position where they were feeling uncomfortable. That's probably why you saw Spongy try to push forward, and that's why we saw the Blackbeard just take it. They're giving 1v1s. That can't be happening. This site is a little bit better because they don't have to worry about that breach this time. So if that Maverick gets taken down, it's not the end of the world. They have hard breach gadgets in. While there is a Cade, they can bring EMP gadgets if they do decide, so that they can have these hatches open. The breach is going to be the main thing here. If they can get the vertical control over towards storage, they can get that Buck. They could get that Buck or that Ram in there. They could deal with Old Man Leg. They could with the bandit charges. They could deal with Reese. But then there's something else they're going to have to deal with. There's 3 C4s on that defensive lineup, and they are going to be able to use them through the vert. As soon as that bandit knows that there's a player above them, well, that C4 is naturally going to go up to the roof, try and get that kill, try and take that player away. Yes, you give them a little bit more verticality, but most importantly, you've taken away their opportunity to do that bit more. When we go back to that top floor site, I want to see that second up front come through. But for the time being, Goats, they have to go for this basement. They're probably, if they're trying to do this with the hard breach and just go through site, they're going to want to get control of kitchen. They're going to want to get control over towards that storage side and move forward. If your name is Dino right now and you're sitting on that default cam that hasn't been shot, you're going to get the information of where these players are going to be. They know they're going to go for the breach. They have to try and get it, and that's why Old Man Leg is there to try and counter it. But the rotate goes through. They're not aware of the K clause, meaning siegeology isn't there. Dino on the roam has just become a lot more powerful. That's a lot of utility, a lot of impact grenades used, in fact all of them, to try and get that garage door open. They've not done that full roam clear on that top floor. You can see Young Yogi is going for it, but they haven't done it just yet. The verticality from Murder will start to come through. The C4 will get put into hand, most likely. Go out, doesn't find its mark though, and Dino will be back on site.
Yeah, 5 players down on the basement now for Pit Ponies, and it's the advantage yet again. Spongy this time the one to fall. The Buck going down, and Murder also in a difficult situation there. Verticality used against him by these players on the basement, and flashing himself as well. It's dangerous, but across the map gets the kill, and a trade as well. Creeping up forwards, Ninsa is looking to get a little bit cheeky here, as Jeagle is just opening some lines of sight here downstairs. This smoke could prove to be the round winner, and Old Man Leg just swings into the angle. Siegeology not expecting it, not ready for that play, and gets taken down. Still in that position, Jeagle, okay, doing the dance of death a little bit here, and Old Man Leg does eventually fall. Bit of damage dealt back on through. And you've still got this smoke upstairs. Reese attempting to join up through vending as well. This is another dangerous position, and for Goats it feels like things are just kind of falling apart before they really need to. Oh, the spray from the SMG-11. Just a bit too fickle for him to tame right now. Just rotates back, knows he doesn't need to give his life away. There's only 45 seconds left.
Exactly. And that's what you see the position. They went up the stairs to try and waste that time. They realised that having that position meant that the attackers weren't going to be as comfortable. They couldn't just walk down these stairs. And that's when the smokes get even more powerful. Ninja are able to retreat back, and the Tubero as well. They really can't just shut down these attackers. Both flashbangs, the audio key goes out, so they know both attackers are going to be coming from this position. For 20 seconds, tick it down. Dino goes for one, doesn't get the second. It's going to be down to Jekyll taking damage from the smoke as Reese closes things down, and another comfortable round for the Pit Ponies there. They got the early kills. The hard breaches taken off very early on from gunfights they really didn't need to be taken. The Goats really didn't need to take. They'd opened the verticality, they'd applied the pressure, sticking their head, looking down, trying to take this gunfight, Charlotte. It really just gave Pit Ponies an advantage, and they were just going to run away with it. So that's another round in their defensive side. I feel like the early round droning and cutoffs need to be a little bit tighter from the goats, because that's not something you can let pit ponies realize that they can get away with, because they will pick up on that when we start moving forward in the rounds.
Yeah, they absolutely will. And another thing as well is just in the first round, we were critical of the goats for only really having one angle, one dimension of their attack. In the second round, again, like you mentioned, the droning just wasn't quite there. They weren't aware of Kaid claws, so their, approach down on the site was kind of stunted. It felt like they were trying to go for more than one angle, but got kind of shut down at the entry gates before they could even really set up for some kind of execute. This time, we're on the tertiary site. Storage and command center. So this is really the place for them to pick up a win. If we don't get a win here from the goats, then I start to worry a little bit. Obviously, a 3-3 half would still be possible, but right now it feels like the pit ponies are just outclassing them in a lot of different ways, and we need to see the goats give a little fight back, honestly. If you give pit ponies confidence, they're going to be unstoppable.
I think that's the big thing for you, Charlotte, is it's little things, it's basic things that they're just not really ready for with the goats. They don't feel warm yet. And pit ponies, they feel like they've woken up, they've hit the ground running. This site, this is what I'm starting to worry about, because it all comes down to the verticality. Yes, Siegeology does have a Monty. That means they can push in, and Murder tries to go for the gunfight with that quick entry into Garage, but suddenly that's stunted out. Now they have to go for that long approach. They can't just get in aggressively, because that's just not going to happen. Young Yogi gets taken down. Spongy takes a bit of damage as well. The C4 will find the Blackbeard. The shield, the pushing operator has just been taken away, and the Monty is nowhere to back it up. Jekyll has to wait for Siegeology to jump over, but they know the vertical is there. Suddenly the vertical is just going in favour of pit ponies. And now you see Murder will be able to find an answer. It actually gets Dino, as Meep gets the information, knows that player's there, but just has to pull back. The reason why Reese is ready, the second shield is gone, Charlotte, and now a minute 30 left on the clock. The round might be over, but we are seeing an even out.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to point out. The shield's taken away. Now so is Jeagle. The striker also removed. Murder is low on HP, maybe about 10 or 15 to his name. He's one of two players remaining. Spongy still nowhere near any of this action, and just has to try and find a way to get involved right now. These walls aren't going to be able to be opened up. Reinforcements in the way, and no more utility to deal with it either. Just a couple of flashbangs left, a couple of air jabs, and one boogie drone to try and drive its way through, tear up the floor. And again, a 3 versus 2 for pit ponies. They found themselves the advantage. They know exactly where they need to stand, and they don't need to do much, as, again, that boogie drone is going to open up an entryway, but it gives the information. So much noise being created towards this side of the map, and Meep in Electrical is still just sitting safe and pretty. Air jab also taken away. And the time, there's just no time for this. 20 seconds. And shots being peppered. It feels like the goats have just given up on this one. They're nowhere near the site. Spongy does find one. But again, as red time starts to tick on through, Old Man Leg is still in IT. Sat back and away. Reese inside a cargo. This is it. The round is done. It's over. The goats have stalled themselves out here, Adam.
Exactly. I mean, Meep just had to sit on that top floor. Meep did not have to do anything with that last minute, because as soon as the round ends, as soon as that time ticks down, you've got to remember, that site was the first floor site. That wasn't the second. That wasn't the top floor. Yes, you had the boogie drones. You had the ram gadgets, but that only works if you have the vertical control. Yeah, you can open the vertical lines of sight, but in that situation, it only favors the defenders. Meep sat alone on Electrical, wasting as much time. They could die. They were in a position where if they died, it was fine. There was no problems, purely because they'd wasted all the time. And in the case of Siege, and this is what I love about it, if enough utility, enough time has been wasted, Aroma can die, not get a kill, and still win a round based off of that alone. The presence that they had in Electrical, the presence that they had that stopped the goats from trying to bring it back when it was pushing towards that pillar side and towards Electrical, they just stalled out, and it feels like Pit Ponies, like I say, they've asked if the AWP was nice, because it very much felt like a save round, but the Goats didn't feel confident to go for that push. They didn't feel ready for it, and now, as we see a perfect rotation of sites through the Pit Ponies, my mind is starting to think, what can the Goats do to start doing things a little bit better? Aggressive pushes, maybe not. They tried it didn't really work out for Murder. They tried to get a gunfight but couldn't land it. Maybe if we see that Habana being brought out, it won't stop a bandit trick. But if they bring that with the Maverick, then that is something they can do. Now, the Maverick, however, has been banned out, which means that Operator is not going to be seen in this round. So maybe, maybe a Habana and a secondary Heartbreach gadget. It's not out the realm of possibility. The one thing I'm staring at right now is that Young Yogi with a shotgun on the Ying. They have the Heartbreach gadgets, and they're not the only ones, so if they die, it's not the end of the world. They can get in, they can hopefully get some kills, because that's where Goats have really struggled. They've not had any opening kills so far, and they've really struggled to bring it back as soon as they do start to move on in the round.
Oh dear. Oh no.
Yep. Speaking of, the Buck is going to get taken down. The one player that is expressly brought to that bandit trick is going to get taken away, and that means that these defenders can be so much more aggressive and so much more confident. You can see the Legion and the Mute on that door over towards there. Ninja and Mute both looking for a couple of kills. Ninja trying to get that break-even scoreline on there. Because the Monty, what is Siegeology going to do? Murder will be able to find a refrag. They back things up, but that breach is just not getting opened unless they drop down below. So now the really hard part's here, Charlotte. They have to get up close and personal. The shotgun can do the work, but Ninja with the T5 is going to find that kill onto Yogi and push the Siegeology all the way back to Murder. And again, time being wasted, attackers falling, and no valuable gains for the attacking lineup. The defenders just as good as they were a couple of seconds ago, and with no deficit, aside from maybe not having a C4 anymore, but you can see Bandit's already got one in pocket.
Yeah, Siegeology back on this Montaigne after the Shields failures of the previous round from the Goats. Siegeology has gone down to a goo mine. Utility also in the hands of Pit Ponies and giving them advantages. Now brought back up. Jeagle has an LMG as well, could potentially put that to use, but now he's been taken out as well. Ninja with a second, the T5 is doing well, and oh no. Bad goes to worse, it's a team kill, and Murder can only get one before falling themselves. Pit Ponies get us underway and keep that flawless streak going with a 4th on the board.
Yeah, very, very coordinated, a very cohesive side from Pit Ponies that I just don't think Goats have been able to replicate. The team kill is bad enough, but at that point the round is over, really. That Buck being taken away so quickly is just horrible. It's just not something you can have. There needs to be a drone in storage to see if there's at least a player, or at least if there's somebody trying to play a little bit of it, just in case. Any indication that somebody's going to be holding that angle, because as soon as that Buck started to get to work, the Bandit had a kill. The Goats stalled out. They didn't realise, okay, well, something's gone wrong. How are we going to fix this? We could go over towards electrical or meeting. We could go over towards fish side, which realistically you probably wouldn't want to do anyway. You'd want to go for that electrical side and meeting as well. They just stalled out. There wasn't really any answer. As soon as things went wrong, you could tell. And I feel like that's the biggest problem I've seen so far from the Goats, is that when things go wrong, they haven't got a backup plan. Now, though, going on to the spot and floor site, what did we see last time? We saw the vertical players get taken off very quickly. Now,
and the hard breaches too.
And the hard breaches, yeah. And instead of losing these players and having contingencies, having soft breach in the pocket, they've actually swapped out. They've changed things up. They've gone for a Deus and they've gone for a Zephyr. This does deal with one of the problems I mentioned earlier, where I feel like their map control and their roam denial hasn't really been there. So the Deimos is actually a good counter for that.
Dealt to Murder already. Like, it's the first 30 seconds of the round, and yet again, the Goats are finding themselves in these disadvantaged spots. Siegeology yet again on this shield, yet to find a kill, and again, these shield operators have not found success for the Goats so far. He's received some damage. Now a whole load more thanks to a C4, and Reese gets a kill from below. The Montaigne experiment continuing to fail here for the Goats, and yet again Pit Ponies get the opening kill. 5-0 in that respect, and looking to gear themselves up to be 5-0 in rounds as well.
Exactly, the C4 going out from the Valkyrie doing absolute numbers.
Oh.
The C4 from Old Man Leg got a fine murder as well, taking away any opportunity to get the cameras of the attack of the defenders because none of them have fallen just yet. Ninja aware of the Deimos will get taken down by Jekyll. Loses a lot of HP.
3v3.
The refrag will come out, and now Spongy, like you say, put us in a 3 versus 3. Half the round pretty much gone, and still roam presence on that mid floor. They're going to drop back. They don't need to be playing aggressive because now this is a lot more promising for the side of the goats. I think that's the way I have to put it.
It's
doable.
Because
that bit's still there. The boogie drones have all been used, Charlotte.
Yeah, hatches also reinforced and electrified up, so it's going to have to be staircases here for the goats, and they're looking to head over towards the Exo stairs right now. This appears to be where most of their presence and pressure is going to come from, and it seems like Meep is maybe getting an idea of this, spots a player but can't land the shot. Now warehouse stairs also being looked towards as another angle needs to be opened up. Jeagle spots a leg, but Dino with a C4 has found impact. That's now 3 of the 4 C4s that have directly contributed 2 kills in this game. And now it is just these players over here in Exo. Shots through the wall. Danger on all angles. Jeagle pressing forwards. Has to try and push the advantage. There's a shotgun. There's a Valkyrie as well. And the TCSG from Reese closes out the round and keeps us going with a 5-0.
But it feels a lot closer. There were a lot better things going on in that round for the goats than we've seen before. They had some refrags. It was a very shaky start, just like we've seen across the board, really, for them. But they actually started to bring things back. They realised where a couple of these players were. They realised that that flank was going to be an issue. They knew that the Deimos was brought for a reason to deal with these roamers, to deal with the lurkers. So they said, right, that's probably going to happen again. Let's be aware of it. Spongy able to find that kill. Kind of the dinner bell of things turning around for them. That was a lot better, and I hope that we're able to see them pick up this round. The thing is, though, again, when we came to this round last time, they struggled a lot. They stalled out quite a bit. Now with a Solace and a Pulse, there's going to be a lot of vertical pressure coming out from down below, a lot of information going to be given from the defensive side. The goats, I feel, they need to get that top floor control a lot quicker, and once they do that, then they can start to worry about the third. Then they can start to worry about these players. They just have to get in the building. I think that's step 1.
Yeah, it hasn't entirely been successful for them so far, which, you know, is fair enough. Pit Ponies looking to make this a flawless half, but for the goats, this is really a must-win round, which, I mean, is kind of makes sense. I think a 5-1, maybe you can come back from it, but a 6-0, absolutely not. I bring in an Ossa along, so still no shortage of new ideas here for the attacking lineup, and that's what I like. They're still willing to make things new, to keep their ideas fresh, but right now it just seems like whatever they try, they haven't been able to be successful. They just need a big moment from one player. Heck, just have someone get an ace 1v4. Why not? They just need something to inject a bit of momentum into them, to springboard them into their second half, the better half of the defense. The Pit Ponies obviously did a good job choosing to start here, but we flip that on its head and the goats are 5-0 down on their own map pick. Suddenly we start to get painted a pretty worrying picture.
I was about to say that. It is their map. They are the ones that chose to play here, and they haven't picked up a single round. Ninja with the call will be taking down Jeagle. These C4s are lethal in the hands of the Pit Ponies. The call center from hell living up to its name. The thing is, like you say, it's the mental here for goats. I feel like they're going into gunfights not confident, not knowing that they can win them, and that is a horrible attitude to have as when you're playing the entry, when you're taking these opening gunfights. Right now, Spongy's going to get taken down as well. The Osa and the ease of walking in without being shot at immediately is going to be taken down. The impact goes out, finds the Nomad from Dino over towards Electrical. Trying to find these players who are starting to look at the vert, but are aware that there's still a player towards that Electrical. They know they're there! They go for the swing, the hip fire does doesn't get it. Dino's able to find them with the backup of Old Man Leg. And again, 2 players with a minute left on the clock, not inside the building. Going to have to find something huge against 5 defending players. But none of them have C4s, but they all have guns, and that is a lot of HP.
Logic Bomb comes out, the first of them, to get some information. Some shots coming through, and yeah, Murder. It's just not long for this world. It's going to have to be an ace 1v5 from young Yogi.
You asked for
he
it.
Does find the first. Old Man Leg does fall, and at least it's not going to be a flawless round. Reese, though, is outside, and is at this point, it's just almost mocking. There's smoke in the way, and Dino's there with a shotgun, running him down, and I mean, what even is there to say? It's just utter domination, a complete blowout here in the first half, as Pit Ponies go into the switch with a flawless record.
I do worry when we go
Timeout seems a bit late here, lads.
Skyscraper. It does, because the thing is, we're looking at this timeout, we've got the mental. That's the big thing here for me, and 1 round isn't really a lot. They're going on to the defense, yeah, that is considered the mental switch. But for me, it's the gunfights. The gunfights aren't really there, and when you look at the kills, it makes a lot of sense. You're seeing the side of Goats, they're really struggling to break even. There's not a single player that's been able to do so. Whereas on the side of Pit Ponies, they're all able to do it consistently. They're strong. They're all having some really good moments that could back things up. For me, going on to the defense, I think the Goats need to just reevaluate how everything is going and take this time out to just say, just breathe, wait. It isn't over yet. This is only map 1. We do at least have 1 more map to go. But Charlotte, they need to make sure that they start picking up rounds. Otherwise, it's going to be a very short remainder. 1 round is all they need to lose for Pit Ponies to move forward with that map advantage. They have to play a perfect game of Siege just to go into the next map with that advantage and win their map.
Yeah, and we've seen the complete opposite from them so far on this map. Again, there's only so much analysis you can do when one of these teams is sitting on a goose egg. And, well, at the very least, the bans will give us something to think about. Hard Breacher gone, that's the Maverick, but a Blackbeard also taken away means that 4 Pit Ponies here, they can have an ace, they can have a Thermite, they can have these main Hard Breachers online, and honestly, the better Hard Breachers online for the defense. Yeah. No Cade available. Fair enough, you still got a Bandit, you still have Tuberal should you want it, you still got Mute, for instance, so plenty of denial there. And the Clash taken away, again, isn't necessarily a massive deal, but the Goats, if you're down 0-6, you might try and rely on something like a Clash. We saw Sigeology use a lot of shields in the first half, not being given the opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Pit Ponies, on the flip side, I feel like we are going to see a very aggressive start from them. Like you said, they're feeling confident. They're really, really strong going into these opening gunfights and really setting the pace of a round. And on the attack, that's exactly what you need to be able to do as a team. You need to be able to set the pace, take the gunfights on your terms, and make sure the defenders are feeling as uncomfortable as possible when it comes to them. Starting things off, you will see a roaming presence. Murder going to be that main player that's looking to do that with support of Yogi, given that information, given those cameras. But for Pit Ponies, the game is simple. Get the breach, get the vert, get the round. If they're able to do that, they can shut things down. The beautiful Thatcher Ace combination here going to come out. There's no Bandit charges, no Tuber out there to contest it, which means that breach is going to get open with no contest at all. They can immediately start rotating around and they can start working on the verticality. Contesting it is so important for a defensive team because it's the amount of time that you waste. In this side, Goats, so just let them get that control and are now focusing all on Murder and Yogi to get these kills. Over towards Kitchen, it might be a little bit too late. A bit of verticality might get done beforehand, but the drones start to go out. Spongy is going to be the first to fall. Dino will find that pick, and I believe that's over towards the verticality. Finding that kill, looks away at just the wrong moment, will take the damage and gets taken down by Murder, but the position's given away. They know where they are, and this defender has only so many options on where they can go, and they're going to have to fight their way through all of them.
Yeah, at the very least makes it into a 4 versus 4, and still alive, still a nuisance, and this is going to take time to clear, time that the Pit Ponies may not have. We saw how badly the clock went for the Goats in the first half, but Old Man Leg just completely shuts that idea down, and Meep gets involved as well. CGology 0-7 in the KD, and it looks like for the Goats they're going to head towards an 0-7 in the scoreline unless Jeagle and Yogi can get something done here, but they can't. It's a complete blowout, a complete shutdown. One attack, one win, and Pit Ponies get a flawless victory here on Nighthaven Labs.
Exactly, and that means they are going to go in there with that map control, that map advantage when we go to our second map of the evening, Skyscraper. Goats, they're going to need to take this time. They're really going to need to have a think about how they're going to approach that map, how they're going to deal with the aggression from the Pit Ponies. Whereas Pit Ponies, they just need to keep the ball rolling. It's going well for them. It ain't for broken. Don't fix it. Charlotte, going into Sky, do you think the Goats can bring it back? Do you think that they've got what it takes to bring it all the way back?
Oh, it's a tough one, because for Goats, you know, they picked Nighthaven Labs as well. That's the other thing we've got to think about. They lost 7-0 on their own map pick, and we were talking about the mental throughout that game. One aspect of that we didn't mention actually in the server is the all chat. How much typing did we see coming through from Pit Ponies? They were loving it. They were living for it. And as much as people say that, you know, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, you keep seeing those messages pop up in the bottom left or bottom right of your screen, and you just, everything else is going wrong, and it gets under your skin, and that contributes to the mental crumbling that we saw from the Goats. These next few minutes before we head into Skyscraper are going to be absolutely crucial. They're going to be starting themselves out on their preferred side of the defense. Let's just hope for their sake, and for the viewers' sakes as well, that they can actually bring some kind of fight onto that second map, because right now Pit Ponies are in charge, in control, and in the lead. Whether they remain that way will be found out after the break. Well, let's hope that Skyscraper has more rounds than Nighthaven Labs. To be fair, it's impossible for it to have less. Welcome back to the stream, everyone. Charlotte and Muhcreedy still with you here. And Adam, we witnessed quite just a complete stomp on map number 1. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Pit Ponies just raked the goats over the coals, over the firestones, everything. Just got absolutely annihilated.
Yeah, very, very dominating, very strong 7-0 in favour of Pit Ponies. Going on the attack as well, so they went on to the attack and they did quite well out of that. Going on to Skyscraper, which is going to be their map pick, again, they're going to be going on to the attack. So the name of the game for them, to get this round out the way, secure the position all the way to that finals, the name of the game is just keep that momentum going, keep that confidence. They know they can do it, they know that they can win the gunfights, so they just need to do that. Goats on the defense, they've bought themselves a little bit of breathing room because now they are on the defense. They know the attackers have to come to them, and hopefully they've got strats, they've got ideas of how they're going to deal with this. One of the things I mentioned on Nighthaven that I want to see on Skyscraper is I want to see them have contingencies. I want to see them know what to do when things start to go wrong, because it's something I don't think we saw on Nighthaven. Going on to this map, I feel like that's something they need to have. Bans, let's talk about those. Ace and Cade going to be taken away again. Realistically, we don't need to explain much about it, but why not? Let's just do it anyway. The Ace, ranged hard breach, it's fast, it doesn't take as long as a Urbana pellet, and it still does a lot of damage. It still does a lot of lines of sight that you can have that vaultable hole or that crouchable hole if you decide, or do the full breach. Cade is just that ability to put it down, walk away. Get the core, even if it gets EMP'd, it's there, and you can be a lot more sneaky with where it goes. His best bro, Bandit, is going to be taken away as well, which means there's going to be no electrification of the walls. It's all going to be down to these mute jammers and T-Rails should they be brought out. And with the Dockerby taken away as well, that makes a lot of sense. Dockerby is such a strong operator at the moment. Teams really like bringing him because it gives that audio information, but it can also get that intel. You get that camera, then you can suddenly take the entire defensive lineup, know exactly what they know and don't know, but then also just get that little bit extra on that. Going over towards this Skyscraper side, we've got the CEO side. This is one where a lot of teams, I think, tend to treat it as their secondary, but teams can prefer it over the other one. It's not necessarily one's better than the other. Pit Ponies for this attack, they're going to want to have to focus over towards that karaoke side, get that T control, move over towards either Dragon or Terrace, open it up, and start to collapse onto the site. Maybe have the breach open if they're going for the Terrace side, or get the single wall if they go for this Dragon Shrine push that you can see at the moment. How they're going to do it? Let's find out. They've got the aggressive lineup, they've got the operators that could do it as well, they've got the RRR for those cutoffs as well. Let's see if they're able to make this happen as the round does start off, Charlotte.
Yeah, Pit Ponies, we only got to see one round from them on the attack, but they did win it, so they want to continue their 100% streak so far. As the first of these death marks gets used on up, Jeagle in perhaps a little bit of danger over towards his kitchen side, and well, Deimos heading straight for him. There goes the grenade, but it's 2 kills from the Pit Ponies. Jeagle under pressure, in trouble, but does get 1 kill. Well, it's just a down. Ninsa able to be picked up, down but not out, and already to 2 versus 5. The Goats, it's starting where it left off, really, which is a flawless round. That's 8 in a row so far.
Yeah, very controlling round there. Very nice work with the Deimos, because I did like that. It's in a similar way with the Jackal, with your roam clear. You get that Deimos, you can start cutting off, not in the same way as the Jackal, you can start cutting off sections of the map entirely, knowing someone's not there. They had that player down below, they forced that rotate with that pulse. They made them play such an awkward angle that they couldn't get the control. They couldn't apply that much pressure, and for me, I'm not really sure why Jeagle was playing over towards the cafe side. I mean, realistically, with that site looking how it is with the verticality, they should be playing underneath over towards that bathroom side at least. Maybe, but when they're caught by the Deimos, they're caught by the Ash, they're inside that crossfire. Yes, they can get a player down, but as soon as they get taken away, they know the vertical's not a problem. 2 kills that is to open the round out that quickly. They knew that Goats couldn't afford to drop a player down. They had full vertical control, which meant C4s aren't a problem anymore. They could go and take gunfights and win them, which is exactly what you saw Reese do at the end. Found one kill of an old CEO and just jumped in, got the other exhibition kill. Bob's your uncle, the round is yours, and you found the first round on Skyscraper. Now, though, they are going to have to attack Karaoke and Tea Room. This is the other side that a lot of teams will tend to go to because they prefer this one. It's got the vertical, it's got the opportunity for flanking, but also it's got the opportunity for this. I love playing Geisha as a player, but Siegeology is going to go for a little bit of an Rooney trick here.
Yeah, I do like this, and you can see the Pit Ponies will be aware of this immediately. They saw the player run out, they've now spotted the Surya Gate as well on here, and a simple impact EMP. And, well, the trick is taken away. There goes the mute jammer as well. Oh, the wall comes back up, but not quite in time. It is going to bar the entry, but Siegeology's already fallen. A trade back in response, though. Murder onto Dino. And a 4 versus 4 yet again. Out goes the C4. Doesn't catch anything. Pit Ponies still in with a shot and an advantage here, because there's so many angles that they've opened themselves to try and contest.
Exactly. Now a little bit of pressure over towards that blacktop stairs, but they know nobody's playing at the moment. Ninja takes a bit of damage, but it's going to be Jekyll landing the shot. Ninja walking in, finds Murder as well. Meeps John in. They can try and control. It's all down to Yogi and Tea Room. All the angles, all of the positions. It's just in favor of Pit Ponies, and Ninja's going to close that round down. The call goes out where they are, and a one tap just to show them who's in charge. Pit Ponies, another round on the board, and very well done. They dealt with that Geisha side very well. They got that breach off the charge and realised, right, well, we know what you're trying to do with the Iruni. Let's just impact the MP it. They put the second one down for good measure, but they had the player for the cutoff. They realised somebody was going to have to fall back because that position was no longer tenable. So they had to pull back, and that's exactly what Old Man Leg was there for. Found the kill. That's the player advantage just to start things off. Very quick round, very strong, and now Pit Ponies are going to go back to CEO and Exhibition side. For me, they need to start stalling out the Goats. They need to stop the Goats from feeling so comfortable. Maybe a Malusi, that might be an operator that might have a bit of benefit for yourselves. A Legion, I like it because it does the exact same thing and it's a lot more fluid, especially towards the end of the round. Those gadgets, they can get put down later, especially when the time starts to put the pressure on, and it does stop that plan. Is that going to be exactly what we see, or is the Wamai, Aruni, Legion, and Azami combo really going to be enough? Because they've got a good lineup, they just need to make it work.
Yeah, they absolutely do. A player that I've got my eye on is Siegeology here. And yeah, I mean, the players have been talking about it as well right now, but he's not found a kill in the series yet. He's 0-9 in the first 9 rounds of this best of 3. And I need him to have a better impact. In week number 1, we casted the Goats as Siegeology looked like he was the next coming, but right now has been shut down. But again, it's a similar story for most of these Goats players. Hurrah, finally! I believe that's the first time they've gotten the opening kill. And there's Jeagle with a shotgun as well. This is the stall. This is what we were talking about. They've found themselves an advantage, Adam. Can they hold on?
Well, now they're in a really good position because the Goats have just taken away the sledge. The operator can bring that EMP gadget for Reese to work with. Now Reese has to take those gunfights, has to get aggressive. Find Spongy, but it's all going to be down to Dino going in through that shrine section. Dino gets taken down by Murder, but not after finding a couple of kills and keeping that player score even. Stevens almost. A player advantage in favour of the Goats. Siegeology still alive and still with an opportunity to get a kill. Whereas Meep and Reese are currently split apart. They're not together, they don't have that refrag potential, and now that's what they're going to use this time, is they still have a lot of time on the board, Charlotte. They're going to use that to get together. Jeagle on that 90 area with that shotgun. They know the barbed wire's there, they know the player's there. So the pre-fire keeps coming out. The taunts in chat from the player who's dead. It's very easy to talk from the spectator screen, Dino, but we know what you can do when you're not in it, so I think I'll let you off this time. Looks like it's going to be the terrace pressure, but with that audio, the information's given. A minute ticking down, it's looking Goats, but with the shots coming out, Siegeology nearly gets wallbanged with the pre-fire. And that is a ping actually going to be coming out, which makes it a lot more worrying for the Wamai. They have an ability, they still have the weapons, but they're not
down.
too sure.
This is dangerous now. A 2v2, essentially, with these players that are still able to fire their own weapons. As Geology in an unrecoverable position right now, and now taken out by Meep. Murder up close with a shotgun, though. Should be able to do something. There goes the flash. Magna in the way. And it pops, but still sitting close. There's another flash. This time, vision taken away, and Meep with the pre-fire gets the kill. Jeagle through the wall is shut down. Pit Ponies had the advantage, had the opening kill. But in the 2 versus 3, it's the... Oh no, oh dear. A 2 versus 3, Pit Ponies still get it over the line. And it's 10 rounds in a row.
Yeah, very nice wallbang coming out. Very nice recovery from the side of Pit Ponies. Being able to get the down onto Geology, I think, was the moment when Pit Ponies got that round back. Because they took down that player. They knew that player was downed. Goats didn't really have much opportunity to revive them, and as a result, that meant that it was a 2 versus 2, and they suddenly felt a lot more comfortable. Meep, with the flashbangs, was able to bait out the Wamai in a position where you'd expect the Meep to really come out on top. As soon as that second flashbang comes out, they get full flash. They know somebody's going to be pushing. They could probably go for a pre-fire. Nope, Meep's just going to win that gunfight, go for a swing, and gets the ball bang. But a lot closer. I think that's the closest we've come so far, Charlotte, to finding a round win in favour of Goats. But it's just not meant to be. And Goats are realising how close they came. They've decided, okay, yeah, let's try it again. There were good things there. They got the opening picks. They got not 1 but 2 opening picks there, Charlotte. They had a good opportunity. And now they've got a couple of operator bans. They've taken that Deimos off the board, which means they have that fluidity with the roaming. They should be able to have a little bit more of an impact with the roam. As you can see, Geology going on to that Vigil now.
At this point, I worry for the Goats, because that was their chance, their opportunity to get back into things. But again, now the mental game starts to be called into question, and with Pit Ponies have been typing away in the all chat like they want to do, I'm concerned for them right now. You've still got 3 players in this game, yet to find a kill on Skyscraper as well.
It does worry me, yeah. I have to agree. I am thinking things are starting to look a little bit off for the side of the Goats. However, it's not all over just yet. They need to make sure that they can take every little scrap of advantage that they can. I like what they've done with the footholds towards that single wall. What this means is they can not only shoot the feet of the attackers if they try and swing towards that terrace side, they can use the Wamai gadgets that Spongy's got. They can place them down and say, right, you're trying to nade out terrace. No, that's just not going to happen. One mirror window will get taken down, and the util will start to fly through the side of Pit Ponies. Just probing for the time being. They realise how close that last round did kind of get, so they're not really wanting to overextend just yet. But you can see that the Aurora is going to start to see some use, cutting off the players over towards that, giving that entryway into the CEO side. But this means that they do need that control over towards single. They need a second element of attack. It's something we've talked about a lot. And Pit Ponies, they're going to have to make sure that they could do that. Yogi is going to be the first one taken down. Spongy takes a bit more damage as well, and suddenly that means actually the site control's going in favour of the attackers, because all that legs in, they've got Spongy, Chico gets Dino, but as the smoke gets taken down as well, it's all in the 3 versus 2. Solace is below, can deal with this plan if it does go down. But you can see Pit Ponies here, I don't think they are going to try and go for a plan. They know they can win the gunfights, they're going to go for it. But Geology is going to get on the board for the first time. Finding 1 kill, looking for the second one to Meep, but the position's given away, Charlotte. They know Murder's below, they know Geology's offside. Reese can go for the plan, and they can do so quite safely, but they're going to take the gunfight anyway. Give away the opportunity, and it's suddenly winnable.
It absolutely is. Ninsa now going to go for the reattempt of this plant potentially, but wary of that stairs position. Murder pops up. It's a game of whack-a-mole, but one that the Grim doesn't win out. Siegeology has been caught, but Murder's up close and personal. Gets the kill onto the Grim. Now 1 versus 1. The opportunity for the round win for the Goats has never been closer, but Meep peppering shots through the wall. Not able to land them, but oh my god, Meep does it again! A second wall bang, and we're up to 11.
The droning information going huge for the Pit Ponies in not 1 but 2 rounds that they shouldn't really be winning. We saw Goats, they had good opportunities. They had players taken off early, but Pit Ponies were able just to bring it back. They found the kills, they got control of the site. I think Goats... Pit Ponies did really well to cut off the Goats when it came to that execute. That Aurora over towards that exhibition side meant that that player couldn't contest them. That meant Old Man Leg could just run into the site. They did exactly that. They found an opening pick. Reese could go for the plant. They cut off the rest of the defense incredibly well. And now Goats, they are going to be heading to barbecue and kitchen because the top floor sites just haven't worked out at all. They have to go below. They have to try something else. They don't have the rounds to work with to try and just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Yes, 4-0 on the defensive side on a map like Sky is not a good position to be in, but more importantly, this is 4-0 on map 2, and they did not win that first map, let me tell you. So they need to make sure that this turns around now, otherwise this entire series is going to get away from them now, because if they go on to attack with a 5-1 scoreline at the least, Charlotte, we talk about the mental. Where is your head at in that situation?
Oh, I'd be boomed. I'd fully be boomed. And I fear we're seeing something similar for the Goats right now. Not necessarily living up to their name in this series. The Thermite charges come on through, Pit Ponies. Early pressure on towards Geisha, but Ninja has fallen downstairs. Down but not out though, so still a 5 versus 5 as it is on the doors. But Meep has also taken some damage here on this blitz. An even trade out there with the Claymore. Gets a kill post-mortem. And Spongy with 1. It's just completely trading back and forth. Old Man Leg, now Jeagle gets a kill onto him.
Oh no.
A checkerboard in the kill feed. Orange and blue alternating sides, but the Goats come out on top of the trade exchange.
Yep. Dino realizing while they may have site control, they need to be aware of that top floor, because that's going to be the big problem if they try and go for a plan.
Oh, you're joking!
Reese finally able to deal with Jekyll. The smoke again just not working out, and Reese gets Siegeology as well.
He's 10 HP!
A third kill onto the board, and now it's down to the smoke to stop this. A 1 versus 2.
He's spotted on the drone too.
A minute and a half left. The ping comes out like you say. That means Dino, with the full HP, is going to try and take this gunfight. The positions, the crossfire, it's there. Spongy takes the damage. They know they're going to rotate around. Dino has got to be watching that door, but they don't seem to be doing so just yet. It looks like they might actually have gone up above as well. They're in kitchen. The pre-fire comes out. They know that this player is going to have to start going for a push. They know the site control's in favor of the attack. Reese can go for a plant. They can do exactly that. The full sprint into barbecue. But Spongy doesn't see them. He doesn't go for the push. Time ticks down. The pre-fire comes out. The call follows, and Reese drops Spongy and gets a 5th round on the board for the Pit Ponies. And what looked so close, again, we're seeing the Pit Ponies just edging out time after time, but Goats, they're doing a lot better to find themselves even in these situations after what we saw in Nighthaven.
Hey Adam, we're up to 12.
12 rounds.
In a row right now for Pit Ponies. It's just heartbreaking for Goats. They're going to attempt karaoke and tea room again. Their last chance to get a defensive round win here on Skyscraper, unless we bring ourselves to overtime. But that doesn't even seem a faraway possibility. That seems like a straight-up fairy tale right now. Yeah. That mythical land of OT, heralded in the books of lore, but
just got to make it to overtime, guys.
Out of reach right now for the Goats. If they do get there, this round will be that first step in the journey, and every journey does begin with a step. every round brings a possibility of a comeback.
Exactly, and I do want to say, if they do get to overtime, they will have earned it, and I think
So,
you'd
yeah,
agree with me
fair
on that
play.
one. Because going
If
on
they
to the
get to
attack
OT.
at a 5-1 minimum is going to be a tough run. So if they could get overtime and then find ourselves at least on the way to that consulate at the end, very well played from them. I reckon they can win it out if we find ourselves on consulate. But Pit Ponies, they just need to be consistent. They just need to not change things up. They're doing it right. They are using different strategies, but you can tell the core of that team is still there. The basics of what they need to do, the coordination, the teamwork, and just the knowledge of what they need to do, where they need to be. That's the important bit for them at the moment. Looks like the Goats are going to go for a little bit more of a defensive lineup. They don't have that geisha pressure like they had before, which means they're going to give Pit Ponies a bit more site control. Suddenly I'm thinking a lot more about verticality. I'm thinking about Murder playing down below. Might be able to try and get something out. But Old Man Leg with the sense will be able to find a first pick. Taking that early geisha control. Smokes off the terror side to stop any counter. But Ninja's already on site. Geology's being picked up. Chico's going to go as well. It's a 2 versus 4 with 2 minutes left. And you find a third for Ninja as well. The Blitz go for the final one. We'll get it. But it's going to be Meat. That's 13 rounds,
360 as well? Just to rub salt in the wound. And like you say, Adam, 13 rounds in a row. We're currently seeing a 13-0 scoreline as, again, the switch comes on in, bans refreshed and reset. Goats are going to have to go flawless here in the second half of Skyscraper.
Yep.
They're going to have to do something that we haven't seen them do today, which is get around on the board. As the first of these bans come on in, Valkyrie and Thermite. I mean, not really much to say there. Valkyrie gives you the information, and taking away hard breaches is always helpful.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the damage that Reese was doing on that one, and I mean, it makes a lot of sense why Pit Ponies don't want to allow that. Thermite, it gives a lot of line of sight. It's not like an ace charge where things can get fluffed. You can maybe not get the whole line of sight, maybe not get the whole breach. You can bug it. They take it away. They don't want to risk it. So the ace will follow as well. Pit Ponies, they want to just deal with Habana pellets, and they also have the bandit left on the board. The Cade are going to follow on the defensive side. Like you say, we are going to have to see the Goats pull off the thing they haven't done all game, which is get around. But they're going to have to do that another 6 times. They're going to have to do it another 2 times. And then that's just to find ourselves on consulate. This is all to stay in the game. Pit Ponies need to be consistent. Very aggressive start off, so I wouldn't be surprised to expect to see Dino, Ninja, and Meat looking to play very aggressive on this defense. I don't expect to see much anchor play coming out from this because Pit Ponies, they can take those early gunfights. They know they can get away with it, and they've got the confidence that the rest of their team can back it up. If they fall, they know that then that the round isn't over. They know that if, say, Dino falls, Ninja could get a kill, or Reese, or Meep. There's no worries about who's going to be that driving force on the team because they can all step up in that same figure. And that's something I feel like Goats haven't been able to replicate.
I'm honestly surprised that there's a player on Pit Ponies that has a negative KD. But Dino 2 and 3, I mean, if the rest of your team is doing what we're seeing them do, I mean, who really cares at this point? You're not going to be like, oh no, I'm negative. You're just going to be like, oh cool, we're absolutely frying them.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, they're playing well, they're playing good, they know it. There's no imposter syndrome there, hopefully. Murder on the other side of Goats, though, is the one that's able to get more than 3 kills. Jekyll's the only one to do that little trophy as well. Between Siegeology, Yogi, and Spongy, 3 kills between them. So it's the fragging side of things. They just don't have those guns in answer to the Pit Ponies. And the confidence, I just don't think is there anymore. The Goats, they're going to start their own clear.
Oh, goodness me. But, I mean, they just get cleared themselves before even entering the building. Old Man Leg jumps out and with a deagle is able to take out Murder. Siegeology at least trades. There's a kill onto Meep. That's the bandit taken out, so that hard breach utility is no longer in the hands. And Dino on the run out does get spotted. That gives a bit of information over. And I mean, Pit Ponies, they're kind of playing this a little bit silly. They're just playing for kills and just, you know, trying to do these trick shots as well. Potentially allowing the Goats a way back in.
something a little exciting here. Ninja doesn't have a choice. With the long range, they have to go for the pistol shots because they will pull out the M870. Dino, though, with the pistols, able to find it. Ninja gets Siegeology, and now Young Yogi, just to keep Goats in the game, is going to have to pull off a 1 versus 4 clutch. The Nomad charges do go out. They know that Malusi's down below. The pre-fire follows, and Dino will fall. And so will Ninja. Going for the refrag. Isn't able to find it. Suddenly, Reese sitting outside, still confident. Isn't necessarily the best position to be in anymore, because now if Reese does fall, that means Old Man Leg is going to have to take the 1v1. The damage low in favor of Yogi. This might be an opportunity. The call has to come out, so Reese has got to be pulling back into sight now, but it doesn't seem they are. We're now 50 seconds ticking down. They might get flanked up. That's why the Nomad's there. The air jabs had better be down in the places they need to be on the staircase. But with time ticking down, it looks like they're just going to start playing it a bit more safe. Old Man Leg looks for the shot, looks to end it out, looks to close this series flawlessly, but isn't going to land those shots just yet, Charlotte, and Yogi stays in it.
Yeah, these keeper barriers in the way, though, making things just so damn difficult here for young Yogi and for Goat. Still a 1 versus 2. The prospect of Consulate, it was just a dream, but potentially this match won't quite be a nightmare for them just yet. Yogi behind the box, planting the diffuser. It's a 1v3, made a 1 versus 1. I don't think they quite have the information, but he gets off the plant. This is ridiculous way for it to go. Too nervy in the moment, could have stuck it, but instead, it's the pit ponies that hold out. They have that mental reserve, and they have a 14-0 flawless game
to put them through to the finals of Season 9. The finals, that's how they go through. And this is a team that only got the top seed spot on round difference. I feel like that's something I really want to talk about, because they came top of their group and it was round difference that done it, which means they've definitely lost a game, which means they, I don't want to say they're lucky to get through, but it was a lot closer than the other side where Goats went through with 6 points. Like I say, Goats, they are going to be knocked out, and Pit Ponies find themselves in that grand final for next week. Very confidently, very dominantly, and looking to make sure that whoever they go up against next week are also going to struggle, and they are also going to have that big fight uphill. They got the chance, if they play like they did today, they might be able to win things out. But Charlotte, that is us done for tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a quick one. We finished, we started map 1 maybe about an hour ago.
Yeah.
and we're ready to say goodbye. I think that match was not a fair showcase of how the Goats have played this season. They were looking incredible a couple weeks ago when they topped their group, and it's just a shame that this is the way it had to go, because I mean, there's nothing worse than a 14-0. Like, truly, it was dominant. It was, I mean, very impressive, but it was a complete blowout. And at the end of the day, that's all that people are going to remember, that you didn't win a single round in a best of 3. That's going to stick in the memory, and not how close some of those rounds were.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I think for Goats, they do need to try and keep that optimistic outlook. They need to say, right, well, there were good things, there were close rounds, and we did have good things happening, but we need to be more consistent with it. I think, again, I could keep coming back to it, contingencies. How do you deal with things when things don't go wrong? Because yes, you can have a strategy, you can have an idea. What happens if something doesn't really go your way? How do you deal with it? How are you meant to bring it back with the mental as well? That's something that we need to look out for moving forward. Possibly also just positioning and kind of how they're approaching, maybe just how do they coordinate these pushes, how do they time things up. Maybe that's something to look at as well moving forward to try and improve hopefully for Season 10. But that's Season 9, the semi-finals sorted. We have one of our finalists, and I'm very much looking forward to next week. Charlotte, that is us done tonight, though, so I do want to say thank you for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been ages since we've casted. It's
certainly been a while. It's been a while. It's been ages since we've even spoken as well. Yeah. We were talking before the stream. I think it's been over a year since we last had a proper conversation. So it's always good to hop on the mic with you, Adam. It's been
Exactly.
While I wish there could have been more rounds, there were certainly some fun ones.
Yeah, but we are still going to be here next week, so you do get the opportunity to see us again for that grand finals. We're not going to just have an annual catch-up, Charlotte, don't worry. But I do want to say before we shoot off, thank you to Kashi for producing and Ogon for observing, making sure that all the action that you saw today was shown in the beautiful quality that it has been. If you do want to get involved, if you think you could beat the Pit Ponies or the Goats, then why not take a look at the socials of Esports Wales. It's all going to be linked in the actual chat and down below on the description. Make sure you get involved. I do recommend it very much. I did play in a couple of the leagues back when I was back in university. I do recommend it wholeheartedly. Other than that, thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you next week.